As of today, Lori Vallow-Daybell has been in MCSO custody for 610 days. So add that all together, that brings our grand total to just shy of $100,000. These are from Kingman, and I didn't know if this was ever brought to your attention or if this was ever investigated, that the same numbers were being recorded over and over again.
This is the first I'm seeing these documents.
The apps on our phones might be an easy way to connect with people, but you can't always trust everyone you meet. Investigators say the suspect in this case used Instagram to meet her victim and Lyft to get away. And you think, oh, the city has millions of dollars for this. Why are people still on the streets?
Compared to last week, it still looks cleaner here than it was before that deep cleaning. You can even see some of the sidewalk and some of the plots where people were staying and went into shelter space.
Are you saying that your client is innocent in this? You said it was a wide net.
Saying we're going to look at all the facts and we're going to get to the bottom of this.
We've found that there have been a lot of questions raised when it comes to who was working in that home, who was running that home.
Brittany Thomas does a lot to keep her flock in Queen Creek safe and healthy, including this little guy right here. But concerns of avian flu are spreading not just from the backyard farmers, but to commercial producers, and there's an impact on your wallet. A big decision.
There's just so many emotions.
For Christina Proctor to buy a little pup, a friend to have at home in North Phoenix.
What kinds of things am I going to need to do, and how am I going to need to change my house?
In September 2020, she sent a $500 deposit through Venmo to Littlefoot Yorkies in Queen Creek, reserving her spot to get a Yorkie from the next litter. Or so she thought.
I had a name for her and the whole thing, so it was, it was hard.
Now, nearly 6 months later, there's still no puppy, no refund, and no word from this apparent breeder.
You feel stupid, you feel angry because you've been taken by someone.
And she's not alone. 12 News talked to 17 people across the country who all say they sent deposits to Littlefoot Yorkies and never got their dogs. Like Sherry Tucker in Oakland, California.
It really broke my heart.
She sent $350 to get a puppy in December as a surprise for her son.
When he found out on his birthday that he wasn't getting a dog, he was really disappointed.
Then there's Christy Frazier, all the way out in a St. Louis suburb.
And I know that she probably played on my emotions a little bit because I had just lost my dog of 15 years.
Sending $700 to Littlefoot Yorkies to cover the deposit and transport fee to bring the new dog to Missouri. She even signed paperwork promising she'd get a healthy dog.
Here I am, closer to 60, never been scammed a day in my life. And I was like, I can't believe someone has the nerve to do that.
In all cases, people who put down deposits say the breeder sent them photos of their prospective pooches before ultimately blocking them. Through social media, some people found they were sent pictures of the same dogs, or dogs from different breeders that weren't up for grabs. Littlefoot Yorkies offering up different excuses to different people.
Here I feel like I'm praying for somebody that was ripping me off.
Even if the reasons don't add up, the money does. Our math shows the 17 people sent more than $10,000 to Littlefoot Yorkies. Only 5 of them said they got refunds. Over the phone, the breeder told 12 News she says she refunded almost everyone.
The conduct by the breeder suggests that the breeder knows that they did the wrong thing.
Steve Lee is an expert fraud witness, not connected to this case.
From the outside looking in, it looks like a scam.
The Pinal County Sheriff's Office is investigating complaints about Littlefoot Yorkies, but right now, no charges have been filed. Why might it be so difficult to prosecute?
They tend to respond to larger dollar numbers, which really is unfortunate because it leaves smaller scale victims like this kind of stuck.
And the options for the victims really bite. Filing a lawsuit to get a refund or keep trying to demand one from the seller and wait to see if law enforcement will do anything. Are you expecting to get your money back?
No.
I don't know.
For these women, the red flags didn't pop up right away. Sherry says she was referred by a friend who actually bought a Yorkie from the very same breeder. The others say they vetted her through social media, pages that are now gone.
There needs to be a consequence.
The address listed for Littlefoot Yorkies is now an empty house up for rent in Queen Creek. And someone at the breeder's home address told us Littlefoot Yorkies was no longer a business and that they couldn't explain what happened. The lesson learned, always a cautionary tale.
I wouldn't send money over the internet. Meet up with the person, make sure everything is legit.
We opted not to name the breeder because she currently isn't facing any charges. But get this,
After we asked her questions last week, we heard back from 4 people who told us they got their refund after months of waiting. That still means about half the people we talked to are still waiting for theirs.
And I was going 40, it was way faster than I was.
Because I remember thinking the guy was going way too fast to stop in time.
In your opinion, should he have been able to see the pedestrians?
If it was driving at a normal speed, yes.
Witnesses seeing what the driver said he didn't.
All I see is just a shopping cart go up.
2 people crossing 32nd Street on Yale, about a quarter mile south of Thomas Road.
But you didn't see them prior to the shopping cart, right?
No, I was just going with the, speed of traffic. They didn't even know where they came out of.
The police report shows the driver of the black truck struck and killed Dorothy Dale Chambers and her boyfriend Joseph Gutierrez after dark on April 26, 2022. The pair reportedly lived unsheltered at nearby Perry Park.
We did a welfare check every week, and my niece went to go check on her, and that's how we found out she had been killed, and she was laying in the morgue for 8 days.
Dorothy's sister, Beatrice X. Johnson, said Dorothy chose to stay at the park.
Well, my sister was not a throwaway, neither was Joseph, neither are those people who are in the park. They are human beings.
But her family never anticipated she'd be killed in the road next to it.
We know that my sister did not do nothing wrong. She was just crossing the street.
This intersection at Yale and 32nd Street technically is a crosswalk. There's paint on the road, but when we went by in early August, we saw one sign on the ground and another that appeared to be blocked by leaves. There weren't any lights, and when someone tried to cross during rush hour, cars didn't stop.
We're demanding that they fix that. We're demanding that they make that area better.
The I-Team examined ADOT data from 2018 to 2020, finding dozens of car crashes each year in the 5 blocks by Perry Park. That includes crashes with other vehicles or crashes with pedestrians. Data isn't available yet for wrecks from 2021 or 2022, when more people experiencing homelessness started staying by the park. The busy street, a problem people living in the neighborhood pointed out, and something Phoenix City Council member Carlos Garcia even acknowledged when we toured the park with him in June to talk about homelessness.
We had an unsheltered person unfortunately die last month who was hit by a car right here.
The city's known since at least May 2020, before Dorothy and Joseph died, that 32nd Street between McDowell and Thomas Roads is considered a high-density crash zone. In December 2020, Phoenix put out a call for bids to work on 4 different crosswalk projects across the city, including the intersection at Yale and 32nd Street. City Council approved a contractor to do the work in April 2021, and all 4 signal projects were supposed to be completed by the end of May 2022. But that didn't happen. At the end of July 2022, the contractor requested an extension into September, blaming supply chain issues. The city signed off on the extension, but it's not clear when the work will be done. As of the last day in August, 3 of the 4 projects don't appear to be operational.
I just talked to her and she said, "I love you, little sis."
Families like Beatrice's, mourning lives lost in an instant, while change is in slow motion.
We don't want this to happen to any other family.
What started as a swipe on a dating app.
It was all manipulation. There was no relationship.
Quickly landed Helen Simmons behind bars.
I was just so scared, and I just wanted to go home, but he wouldn't let me.
She was 18 when she moved to Phoenix in summer 2022 and said within a day or two, she met 22-year-old Matthew Jones on the dating app Tinder. Helen told us and investigators that she went over to his apartment willingly at first, but then said Jones wouldn't let her go. In the 2 weeks that followed, she said Jones abused her and threatened her if she didn't do what he said. Then she said he forced her into a violent jewelry store robbery. They were both arrested and later sent to prison.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
Despite Helen's allegations of abuse.
Which made him have enough control over me to make me do something like that.
The I-Team learned that Jones has a history of hurting women, with prior convictions in California and Arizona. In fact, Jones had just gotten out of prison about 2 weeks before Helen said they met. Records show that conviction was for unlawful imprisonment and aggravated assault involving another woman he met online.
Tinder's terms of use state that felons are prohibited from creating accounts, but that the company doesn't do any criminal background checks, and that Tinder is not responsible for the conduct of any member on or off the service. The same term's true for many popular dating apps. Earlier this year, a rep for Tinder said they didn't have a record of Matthew Jones or Helen Simmons. The rep did not answer any of our other questions, including how they keep felons from signing up.
I mean, it's definitely easy for bad actors to access dating apps. Usually it's just a first name and a phone number or an email address to create an account with no sort of security, safety screening, identity verification prior to that.
Catherine Kosmides is the CEO of Garbo, a company that used to partner with Tinder to help users with background checks.
And we definitely have seen individuals using dating apps as a way to find victims in a much easier fashion.
Certainly, this isn't everyone's experience on dating apps, but there is limited public data tracking violent outcomes. Researchers with the Australian Institute of Criminology found that nearly a third of people they surveyed reported violence at an in-person meeting after matching online. ProPublica published a similar stat in 2019, finding that 31% of women surveyed reported being sexually assaulted or raped by someone they had met through an online dating site. Kosmides said she ultimately ended the partnership with Tinder and stopped their background check service, in part due to challenges with the app platforms, but also with background checks in general.
How challenging is it to actually get a full record on a person?
I would say probably nearly impossible.
Access to public records varies state by state, county by county, some places redacting important information, and it may cost you.
Here in New York, where I live, it can be $95 to run a single background check on someone. And that's $95 before I ever go on a first date or a first meeting with someone. And so it's really expensive data.
A rep from Match Group, Tinder's parent company, said in part that Tinder has a new partner to help with background checks in the United States called BrightCheck, and that Match Group uses other technology to help flag profiles with harmful images and language. The bottom line, even if someone comes up clean.
Just because someone doesn't have a record doesn't mean they're safe.
Which is why Garbo, dating apps, and other services lay out best practices, like having your own transportation, not sharing personal information, recognizing your boundaries, and taking things at your own pace.
So dating apps are very common, and I'm not saying they're a bad thing.
Matthew Jones is not facing charges on any of Helen's allegations and told investigators that everything was consensual. She's still processing what she went through, a hard new perspective from prison.
They can pretend to be somebody they're not, and that's what happens with me. I hope that people can just be more careful, men and women, because it can happen to anybody.
The I-Team is still investigating violence in dating apps. If you have an experience to share, we hope you'll take our dating app safety survey.